Hi guys, welcome back to ABoC Studio with Natalie. In today's video, we're gonna crochet this shrug that you can actually wear two ways. This with the tie at the back or with the tie at the front like this. This video is step by step with written pattern and side guide, so it is beginners friendly. However, it is not absolute beginners friendly. So if you are absolute beginner, please check my advice in the description down below. Okay. I just want to show you how the back would look like when you wear the tie at the front like this, alright? And before we get right into the video, I want to show you what is happening in this picture. This top is actually happened by accident. I was trying to freehand this shrug for the first time ever, and I accidentally make this the back piece way too long, and it looked really bad, and I was just going to rip it all out and remake it, but then I did this. Something like this. And then I attached like a chain here and tied it at the back. I know that a lot of you guys are interested in this piece, so I want to mention it right here that if you want to make the top, do exactly as the video, follow the pattern, except for the part where we make this back piece, you make it longer so that when you stretch it down, it would cover your tits, and you're just gonna attach your breasts and tits cũng được mà. And attach a string to tie it to the back, and that is how it's done. So for this project, you can choose yarn between fine weight, category number 2, or DK weight, category number 3. For this pattern, I personally prefer smaller yarn, so I will use fine weight in this video. And the amount of yarn you need will be around 125 to 175 grams of yarn, depending on what size you are working on. You can see here that I use two colors, and I will use this one for the main color and this one for one sleeves. If you want to plan color the same way, you can divide the total amount of yarn into 3 parts, 2 parts for the main color and 1 part for one sleeves. Before we start, I want to show you this. These 4 pieces look like they are different sizes, but actually they are exact same size. They all fit perfectly on me. I made them using the same pattern, same side guide, and the exact same crochet hook. When you look at this fabric, it's not very stretchy. This one has a little bit more stretch, and this one it's very stretchy. And this one is extremely stretchy. This is the secret into creating crochet garments that are snuggle and fit close to the body. You need to pay attention to the stretchiness of the fabric. So first we're gonna start with a number of chains according to our side guide. And keep in mind that for this pattern, we will need our chain to be extra loose. Now I will show you how to do that. We start with a slip knot. And you put the slip knot on your hook and close it, but don't close too tight. You're gonna need a little bit extra space so that our chain loop will be nice and loose, just a little bit more than usual. That is good enough. Now to make chain, you just simply yarn up and pull through, right? And because we need our chain to be extra loose, that's why every time we make a new chain, we're gonna loosen up the loop on our hook a little bit like that, yarn over and pull through. And we're just gonna keep doing that until we have our number of chain. Okay, once you have your chain, we're gonna start our first row, and we're gonna double crochet in the 3rd chain So you count from this one, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna double crochet into this chain, okay? To double crochet, we yarn over, insert our hook into the third chain, under the top loop of the V right here, okay? Draw our loop. And keep in mind that for the stitches, we don't need them to be loose. So that's why all the loops on our hook when we're working double crochet stitches will be close to the size of the hook like this, okay? Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. And that is our first double crochet. Here is the chain 2, which we will count as 1 stitch. Now moving on to the next chain, we're gonna work another double crochet in there, yarn over, insert the hook, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're gonna keep doing so, double crochet into each chain until the end of this chain, and I will meet you right here at the end, okay? Okay, you can see here that I'm at the end of my chain and I have 2 chains left to work in. I'm gonna do that. And my last chain right here. Remember to keep all the loops on your hook stay close to the size of the hook when you're working your stitches, okay? Alright, now you can count and check your number of stitches by counting every stitch. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way till the end. And we're gonna count this chain 2 right here as 1 stitch. So altogether, you should have a number of stitches according to your side guide, okay? Before we move on to our second row, we're gonna chain 2 and loosen up our second chain. So 1, and then the second one, we're gonna loosen up the loop on our hook, yarn over, pull through, so that our second chain is slightly bigger than the first one. Now, we're gonna turn our work and move on to our second row. For our second row, we're gonna work double crochet into the second stitch and then each stitch across until the end. The reason why we don't work in the first stitch is because right here, this chain 2 with the loosen up second chain, it's already count as a stitch. So this first stitch already have 1 stitch. Now we're gonna moving on and work our second stitch into the next one, okay? And we're gonna yarn over again, insert a hook under the V on top of the stitch here. You draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, okay? Now we're gonna do the same thing, double crochet into each stitch across until the end of the row, and I will meet you right here to show you what to do next. I'm at the end of row 2 and I have 3 stitches left to work in, 1, 2, and the last one would be this chain 2. So I first finish these 2 stitches. Okay, and then our last stitch will be this chain 2. So we're going to insert a hook right in the second chain. Yarn over, insert the hook like that, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is how we finish our second row. Now before we move on to row 3, we're going to chain 2 with a loosen up second chain again. 1 and 2, like that. Turn our work and we're gonna do the same thing we did. Double crochet into the second stitch, like that, and then each stitch across until the end. Okay, here at the end of row 3, I have 2 stitches left, and I will do that. My last stitch will be this chain 2, and I will insert my hook right in this second chain. Okay, you see this hole right here. I'm just gonna work double crochet in there, and then before moving on to row 4, we're gonna chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, turn our work double crochet into the second stitch, for row 4 we're not gonna double crochet all the way until the end. Instead we're just gonna need a number of stitches according to our side guide. And so when you count your number of stitches, remember to count this chain 2 in the beginning of each row as 1 stitch. Okay, so right here I already have 3 stitches, and I will make a number of stitches according to my side guide. Okay, now that I have a number of stitches according to my side guide, we can check the number of stitches by counting every stitch, including this chain 2 count as a stitch. Now moving on, we're gonna chain 2 again with a loosen up second chain, turn our work, and we're gonna repeat the same process. Work double crochet into the second stitch like that, and each stitch across until the end, and the process will be pretty much the same, so please follow the written pattern that I put on the screen for you. Okay, this is how it should now look like, and we're gonna move on to our next row. Chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, turn our work and work double crochet into the second stitch and each stitch across until the end, and I will meet you right here to show you how to add on chains. Okay, you can see here I have 2 stitches left, this one and the chain 2. I'm gonna work double crochet as normal into the second chain. Alright, okay, so moving on, we're gonna work a number of chain according to our side guide, and from here you just simply yarn over and pull through to make chains. And remember that for our chains we need it to be extra loose, so loosen up your loops a little bit, yarn over, pull through. Okay, I have 2 chain now, and I keep doing that until I have enough chains. Now that I have enough chains, I'll move on to the next row. We're gonna work double crochet into the third chain, 1 2 3, this one. Okay, yarn over, insert your hook into the third chain and work a double crochet as normal. Then we're gonna work double crochet into each chain across until we get close to this part, and I'll meet you right here. Okay, alright, you see that I have 1 chain left, and then I'll move on to this first stitch. So work my double crochet in this last chain, keep the loop on my hook close to the sides of the hook, and now we're just gonna work double crochet into each stitch across all the way until the end, just like how we did before. Okay, I'm at the end of this row, and I finish it with a double crochet into my last stitch, which is the chain 2. Chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, turn our work double crochet into the second stitch and each stitch across all the way until the end, and the process will be pretty much the same, so please follow the pattern that I put on the screen. This is how your piece should look like at this point, and from here we're gonna bind off. To bind off, it's very simple. You just chain one and cut, leave a long enough tails to weave in later, and pull the tail out and tight. And that's it. Moving on, I will show you how to make the front tie. We're gonna insert our yarn into each of these sides, and you'll see here that they are not the same. On this side, this is the top of the double crochet stitches. You see little V's on top of the stitch. But here, it's the chain that we add on before, so you see that these are not the top of the stitch, but instead they are the bottom of our chain. And because it's gonna be way easier to work on top of the stitches, I'm gonna first show you how to do it on the chain, okay? So you're gonna insert your yarn in the stitch according to your side guide. You will count from this chain 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My side told me to insert my yarn in the 8th stitch, so here is where I want to insert my yarn, right in here, okay? So you insert your hook in there, draw out your yarn, and tie this yarn right there. Have a long tails to weave in later. Now we're gonna insert our hook into the same place where we tied our yarn in. Draw our loop, chain 2 with a loosen up second chain, and then we're gonna double crochet into the next stitch right here. You see? Yarn over, insert your hook, double crochet, and we're just gonna keep doing that. Find the body of the stitch and insert your hook on top into the hole on top of it, okay? So here it's my next one, and here, and here, and here. And you can see here I have 2 stitches left. This one, and then the chain 2 look a little bit weird here, but it's alright. We're just gonna insert a hook in here. And again, you can check your number of stitches by counting everything on this row, including this chain 2, okay? For the next row, we're gonna chain 2, but we don't need to loosen up our second chain anymore, and I will explain it later, okay? Turn our work, double crochet into the second stitch, and each stitch across. All the way until the end. I have 2 stitches left, this one and this chain 2. I work in that one, this one, and then work in the chain 2. Okay, and now we're gonna move on to our next row, and from this row on we're gonna decrease 1 stitch on each row until we have only 2 stitches left. I'll show you how to do that. We again chain 2, no need to loosen up our second chain, turn our work, double crochet into the second stitch, and each stitch across all the way until the end, until you have 2 stitches left. Oopsie. Okay. Okay, you can see here I have 2 stitches left, and what I'm gonna do is that I work double crochet into this stitch and skip this last stitch, which is the chain 2. So we decrease 1 stitch on each row by skipping the last stitch. Okay, now moving on to the next row, chain 2, turn our work, double crochet into the second stitch, and each stitch across all the way until the end. Skip this chain 2, turn our work, double crochet in the second stitch, and we're just gonna keep doing the same thing, skipping all the last stitch until we have only 2 stitches left. Here you can see I have 3 stitches left. I'm gonna chain 2, turn my work double crochet in this second stitch, and once we have only 2 stitches left on the row, we're gonna start just making chain until it's long enough. You can follow the side guide that I put on the screen, or you can make this chain as long as you want. And then when your chain is long enough, you're just gonna cut and pull the tail out. Okay, and then tight. That's it. You can cut close to the knot. Then we're gonna repeat the same thing on creating the other front tight on this side, and it should be easier because these are the top of the stitches. We again insert our yarn where our pattern tells us, and then the process will be pretty much the same, so you can rewind the video or you can follow the pattern on the screen. So this is how it should look like after all. Now we're gonna move on to the part where we create the sleeves, and again you will see that these 2 sides are not the same. One it's the top of the double crochet stitches, and one it's the foot of the chain. And I'm gonna start with the side of the chain, because here with the stitches it's gonna be much easier. You can insert your yarn on either of this corner. I'm gonna use this corner. Insert my yarn here in this corner with a stitch. On this side it's the chain 2. Let's insert our hook right here. You can see right on top of each stitch there's this space, and that is where we gonna insert our hook right there. You pull your yarn through that, okay, and then tie it up. Now to create our sleeve, we're gonna need to join this into the round, but before we join these things into the round, we're gonna need to add some chains for our armpit, and it's gonna be different between the sizes, so follow the number in the side guide. Now Insert your hook in the same place where you join your new yarn in, right here in this stitch in the corner. Draw our loop. And now we can start making chain, and again our chain need to be extra loose. So loosen up each loops on our hook a little bit, okay? The side that I'm working on is small and medium. That's why I made 6 chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now once you have your number of chain for the armpit, we're gonna join this into the round like this, okay? So insert your hook. See here, it's the chain 2. You insert your hook into the second chain. Oh no, that's not the second chain, okay? So here. Okay, this is the second chain. Be careful not to insert your hook in this stitch, because here we have the chain and we need to insert a hook in the second chain. And here it is. We insert a hook right there. We're gonna join this into the round with a slip stitch. So you yarn over, pull our loop, and pull that same loop through the loop on your hook. Hold on the loop on your hook and this working yarn and pull tight to close your slip knot, okay? Check one more time. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, now moving on, we're gonna start working our first row for the sleeves, and we're gonna chain 2. While working double crochet in the round, we don't need to loosen up our second chain anymore, and I will explain it later. Now we're gonna start working double crochet into this next stitch. So here it's the chain 2, and on top of that you see the chain 2 that we just create. Double crochet into this next stitch. Right on top of the stitch you see this space where you want to place your new stitch in. Okay, and then move on to the next one. Here you can see, and the next one right here, and we're just gonna keep repeating that. Work double crochet into each of this stitch until you get to this, close to this armpit chain, and I'll meet you right here to show you what to do next. Here you can see that I'm closer to the armpit chain, and I have 2 stitches left. I'm gonna finish that 2 stitches with double crochet. Now we're gonna start double crochet into each of this chain. So 1, 2, then next one, okay, and then here, and then this last one right here, you see. Now you can go ahead and check and count your number of stitches on the first row of the sleeves by counting every stitch on the round, including this chain 2. Before we move on to our second row, we're gonna go ahead and finish this round by joining it with a slip stitch. And to do that, you insert your hook into this first stitch. So this is the chain 2, right? You see this first stitch, insert your hook under the V on top of the first stitch, like that. Draw our loop, draw that loop through the loop on your hook, and then hold on the loop and your working yarn to tighten the slip stitch up. And that is how you've joined the round with a slip stitch. And now we're gonna chain 2. We don't need to loosen up our second chain because you see here, we're gonna put our chain 2 on top of each other. Before, when we're working on the flat surface, on top of a chain 2 would be like a normal double crochet. But here in the round, we put chain 2 on top of chain 2, so we don't need to loosen up our second chain anymore. After you chain 2, you're gonna turn your work, and then we're gonna work double crochet into each of the stitch until the end of the round. Now you see here, this is the chain 2 on top of the chain 2. Next to it is this stitch, the first stitch. On top of the first stitch, it's this V, and that's where you want to insert your hook right under this V for your next stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And just like that, we're gonna work double crochet into every stitch across until the end of this round, and I'll meet you right here to show you one more time what to do. Okay, I'm at the end of this round, and you see here I have 3 stitches left. I'm gonna do that. You see 1, 2, 3, okay? And this last one, you will see that this chain 2, part of the chain 2, it's a little bit in this stitch because we slip stitch to join the round in the first stitch, right? So this is our last stitch. We're gonna work in that. And again, you can check and count your number of stitches by counting everything on the row, including this chain 2. Before we move on to our next row, we're going to finish this round by joining it with a slip stitch. Insert your hook into the first stitch, right next to the chain 2, under the V, on top of the stitch, okay, on top of this stitch, right? Draw our loop, and then draw that loop through the loop on your hook, tie the slip stitch up, chain 2, turn your work, and again work double crochet into the next stitch and each stitch across. And the process will be pretty much the same. There's nothing new, so please follow the pattern that I put on the screen for you. All right. Okay, so now this is how it should look like, right? Moving on to the next part, we're gonna start to narrow down the sleeves. Here I have a sample for you to see. Because our upper arm tend to be bigger than the lower arm, that's why we're gonna narrow down our sleeves. So what we're gonna do to narrow down our sleeves is that from the next row, we are going to decrease 1 stitch on each row. And we're gonna do that by skipping the last stitch of each row. I will show you how to do that in details, okay? Now, we're gonna finish this row that we have right here with a slip stitch into the first stitch, tighten up, chain 2, turn our work, and then work double crochet into each stitch across all the way until the end, until you have around 3 or 2 stitches, and I'll meet you right there here, okay? Here you can see that I have 3 stitches left to work in. 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna do 2. And to decrease one stitch on each row, from now we're gonna skip this last stitch, okay? So you see this is the last stitch, this is the chain 2. You see? This is your last stitch. You're gonna skip it and move right on to the slip stitch to join the round. So we slip stitch into the first stitch right here, tie up our slip stitch, chain 2, and turn our work. And we're just gonna keep doing that. Work double crochet into every stitch until the end, skip the last stitch, and your sleeve will gradually narrow down, and you will do that, and we will do the same thing until we have a number of stitches on the round, and that number depends on what size you're working on, so please follow the side guide, okay? The process will be just the same. I'll put the pattern on the screen. I'm at the last row of my decreasing mission. I don't know. I have one stitch left, and this is the stitch where I'm supposed to skip, and we can check by counting every stitch on the row, including this chain 2. 23, 24. So my side tell me to work until I have 24 stitches, and so this is my last row of decreasing, and I will skip this stitch, join the round with a slip stitch into the first stitch, close the slip stitch, chain 2, turn my work, and now we are gonna again work double crochet into each stitch across until the end. We're not gonna decrease anything anymore, so we're gonna keep working in all the way until the end, until we have a right number of rows for the sleeve, and I will meet you at the end of your last row, okay? Okay, I'm at the end of this row, and I will finish it by slip stitch into the first stitch, tied up my slip stitch. For the next row, we're gonna work the detail for our hand. At the same time, it will be where we stick our thumb out like that, okay? So for the next row, we're gonna treble crochet. That's why we're gonna chain 3 instead of chain 2, like that. Turn our work, and we're gonna work our first treble crochet into this first stitch, okay? And I will show you how to do that. Now, for double crochet, we yarn over 1 time, but for treble crochet, we yarn over 2 times. So 1 and 2. You can see here that we have 3 loops on our hook after we yarn over 2 times. You're gonna put your finger right here to hold on this yarn so that it's easier to work with. Insert your hook into the first stitch and draw our loop with the working yarn like that. Now you see that we have 4 loops on our hook, and try to keep all the loops on our hook stay close to the sides of the hook like this. Now we're gonna yarn over and pull through 2 loops 3 times. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Now you see we have 3 loops on our hook. You're gonna yarn over, pull through 2 loops again. Now we have 2 loops left. Yarn over and pull through that 2 last loop, okay? Okay. You will see on... Okay, so this is why I told you to keep all the loops on your hook stay close to the sides of the hook, because I didn't do it too well, so that's why this V looks very large, not very nice, but it's okay. Sometimes it's like that and it's okay, okay? Now look at the pattern. You see that we would chain 1, skip 1 stitch and work in the next stitch. So chain 1, skip this stitch, and work treble crochet in this next one. Yarn over 2 times, insert the hook, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we will repeat that. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, work in the next one, treble, again chain 1, skip 1 stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch, and you see that it's how it's like, right? And you're gonna repeat the same process of chain 1, skip a stitch, treble crochet in the next stitch until the end. When you have 2 stitches left on this round, meet me in the end of this round, okay? You can see here that I'm at the end of the round and I have 2 stitches left like this. I've just done this treble crochet. I haven't chained 1 yet, so now I will chain 1, skip this 1 stitch, and work treble crochet in my last stitch. Just like that, okay? We're gonna do the same thing as before. We slip stitch to join the round into this first stitch. Insert the hook, draw a loop, and draw that loop through the loop on your hook. Close the slip stitch tight. For the next row, we're gonna work double crochet, so that's why we're gonna chain 2. Turn our work. And here you can see that our first stitch is a treble crochet. We're gonna double crochet into the treble crochet, double crochet in the space, double crochet in the treble crochet, and repeat that same process until the end, okay? Let's double crochet in this treble crochet. You see on top of the treble crochet there's a V, and you want to insert the hook right under that V, okay? So for double crochet, we yarn over only 1 time, insert your hook, draw our loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. And next we will double crochet into this space, into the chain 1 space here. Okay, so yarn over, insert the hook into the space, and work a double crochet. Next, we're gonna double crochet into this treble crochet, and double crochet into the chain 1 space, and double crochet in the treble all the way. We're gonna repeat the same process until the end, and I will meet you in the end of this row to show you what to do next. I'm close to the end, and you see here that I have 1 space, 1 treble crochet, 1 space, and 1 last treble crochet. And my last treble crochet looks a little bit big and weird, but that's okay. Double crochet in the space, double crochet in the treble, double crochet in the space, and double crochet in this last one, treble. And again, we're gonna join this round with a slip stitch into the first stitch, tight our slip stitch up, chain 2, turn our work, and for this row we're gonna work double crochet into each stitch across until the end, and I will meet you at the end of this row to show you what to do next. I'm at the end of this round, and I will finish the round by slip stitch to join it, tighten up my slip stitch, And here I will bind off to change the color. Okay, to bind off, you chain 1 and then cut your yarn, but leave a long enough tails to weave it in later, like that. Okay, so here you can see this is the chain 2, and you're gonna insert your yarn, your new yarn, into on top of this chain 2 here in this stitch. Okay, insert your new yarn in, and we will tie this up. Leave a long enough tails to weave in later. Now we're gonna insert our hook into the same place, draw our loop and chain 2, turn our work, and this is gonna be our last row. We work double crochet into each stitch across. Okay, and then at the end of this row we will join the round with a slip stitch. Okay, I'm just gonna meet you right there to show you how I finish. Alright, here you can see that I finished this round of another color. I work into my last stitch here. Oh no, this is my last stitch, this one, because we insert our yarn here, so it took up a little bit of space, so I'll have to work in that last one. Okay, now I will finish this round by slip stitch into the first stitch again, tighten up my slip stitch, chain 1 and cut, but leave a long enough tails, pull the tail out and tight, and that's it. We have done one sleeve. Now we're gonna move on to the other sleeves, and we will repeat the same thing to create this sleeve, just the same, exactly the same as how we did this one, but I'm gonna use the other color for these sleeves. So I will insert my yarn, my new yarn, which is another color, into this stitch, and did the same how I did this one. So you can rewind the video to see how I did it. So this is how our final product look like, and you can wear it backward or frontward, it's fine, but make sure you don't wear it upside down. Here I'll show you. This narrower part is our neckline, and this part, a little wider, belongs to our armpit. So keep that in mind, and if you're making this for your customer for selling, I recommend you to put your brand tag right here so that your customer will know how to wear it. Alright, that's it.